Hey guys, what's up? I'm Brian here, doing another video for you guys, and this time we are taking a look at Transformers Dark of the Moon, Wave 3 of the Deluxe Class figures. And this is a Wave rundown. If I didn't say so in the last video, that is Wave 2. I feel like I called that Wave 3 at some point, but that is actually Wave 2. This is Wave 3. Maybe I did call it Wave 2, and that's just in my head, but I feel like I had. So this is actually Wave 3. And I'm going to say this is probably the garbage wave, or at least half garbage wave, because I don't like half of these figures. And I know that a lot of other people hate more of these figures than me. I know there's a total of 4, but I know that a lot of people seem to hate the Nitro Bumblebee, and I actually really like the Nitro Bumblebee. But let's take a look at probably the worst figure of this wave. That is Dark of the Moon Mudflap. Now, I'm not calling Dark of the Moon Mudflap the worst because of what he is as a character in the movie of Revenge of the Fallen. I'm saying he's probably the worst because I just don't like the toy. I don't care about what goes on in the movie. Usually I separate myself from the toy and the movie on-screen character. If the toy's good and the on-screen character sucks, well, I don't really care. I just want the toy to be good. As far as this toy is concerned, I don't like this toy. Which is funny because he's also going to be the main character for one of my shows, so that's hilarious. But I just don't like it. I think the transformation is a little too fiddly. Not amazingly fiddly, but it's just a little more fiddly than I would hope for. I don't like the backpack. Everything seems to be loose, and I mean, I could get the doors to be fit in a certain position, like that, just to wrap around the backpack, but I really just don't like that. The slight movement will get that out of place, and I really don't like that. Speaking of which, the backpack is warped for whatever reason. One of the joints is completely warped. I'm still able to transform it, but I just don't like that. I'm not a fan of this character overall. And again, I'm not talking about the on-screen version. I'm talking about the toy itself. I'm just not a fan. The weapon is just whatever. I mean, it feels like a throwaway weapon. It's just an axe. I mean, the axe is kind of cool, but it also feels a little basic. I wish that I could completely cut this off and just have the axe. Like, separate this from the gun itself and fill this out with something else, because I think as the axe it looks pretty cool, but with all this weapon junk it just doesn't look good. Which I get, it's part of the MechTech gimmick, but I don't really care about the MechTech gimmick. The second worst figure has to be Laserbeak. Now, originally I was like, okay, I'm fine with Laserbeak. I know a lot of people aren't, and I do understand why. But I'm completely fine with Laserbeak. I think he's a pretty cool guy, so whatever, alright? I'm good with it. Nowadays, I'm just like, man, this figure is bad. First of all, you have this weird gray color scheme that's not accurate to what he has in the movie. I guess it's to add a little bit more flair to it, but you already have that red that could add a little bit more flair to it. And I like the red. It's kind of a pinkish red, but I think it's fine. I like the gunmetal color. I think that looks cool, but I think as the plasticky gray gunmetal color, it just doesn't really work. The head, I think, is a little goofy. I mean, I understand what they were trying to go for, but I always thought that that face was just weird. I mean, he's got some good articulation. He's got an opening mouth, which is pretty cool. The weapons are very nice, and they remind me of the G1 Laserbeak with the 2 guns on top, so that's pretty good. There's some bits of the transformation that I do like, but I think his alt mode is just terrible. Now, I understand why he doesn't transform into a TV or a pink Bumblebee, which is probably why they gave him pink wings, but I'm just not a fan of this toy anymore. It's really just not become fun anymore. I don't know. That might just be me, and if you like the toy, that's fine. For me, I'm just not a huge fan anymore. And then we'll go to the third worst toy of this whole toy line, which is probably Nitro Bumblebee. Now, again, I said that I like it, but I think I like Thundercracker a little more because he's Thundercracker, and two, there's a lot of people that actually hate this toy because it is another Bumblebee in the mix. I mean, for Transformers Dark of the Moon, we had a wave setup of 5 deluxe class figures that were actually released, and of all those 5 waves, about 3 of them had Bumblebees. In fact, I think the first 4 waves had Bumblebees. So you can imagine that that drove a lot of people crazy. In fact, we even had a leader class Bumblebee down the road, which was frustrating to a lot of people. And it really bothers me because they could have replaced that for a Leadfoot or a Soundwave or something like that to have an earlier wave instead of being discontinued. I hit the camera. But as far as I'm concerned, I really do like that Bumblebee. I think the molding is cool. He's kind of a little plump, but I like that. I like the door setup. I think that looks pretty cool. I don't know, that might just be me. It could use a lot more coloring to it, but there's something about the design that I really do like. And it's a beefed up Bumblebee. It's got a lot of these mechanical things like the rockets and whatnot, and I'm just having a lot of fun with it. I like the legs, I like the shaping of it, and also it was a different Bumblebee. It's not a Bumblebee that reused the same transformation setup as pretty much all the other Bumblebees previously. It was doing something else with it. It was changing it up, which I really do like. The gun is just whatever. I really don't care about the gun. In fact, for the longest time, I thought they reused the Skids gun, but apparently these two guns are different, and I just don't really care. They could have just reused the same gun, but they decided to create a whole new mold for the same gun that does the same thing. I really don't understand that. But as far as I'm concerned, I like this Bumblebee. I understand where people are coming from when they hate this Bumblebee. But if I have to be honest, I just like it. I feel like it's a lot more fun than some of the other Bumblebees out there. I mean, he's even got guns on his arms, which could have been picked out in some paint. But as far as I'm concerned, I like this Nitro Bumblebee. And last but not least, we get pretty much the only entire repaint of the wave, which is Thundercracker. I like this toy because, one, it's a repaint of Starscream, which I think the Deluxe Class Starscream is good, and two, I always love Thundercracker. Just, no matter what kind of Thundercracker it is, I'm going to love it at some point in time. Except for the ConstructBots Thundercracker, which I think is garbage, actually. One of the worst ConstructBots toys that I've gotten in my entire toy line, and I've gotten a few. So, with that out of the way, I just like this toy. The only problem that I have with it is the weapons don't combine. In the original Starscream, he had a combining weapon, which was pretty cool, but they only include half of that weapon, and then the other half of the weapon is replaced with the Roadbuster gun. I don't understand why they decided to do that. Just give them the same gun. But no, they decide, hey, we're going to give you the Roadbuster gun, and I just don't get it. I mean, cool, I like the Roadbuster gun, but if you're going to have this gun in the setup, have the other one too. I mean, you could take off the Starscream weapons and just attach those to him, which is pretty good. But if you want to have your figures complete, well, yeah. I even have a Thundercracker in box, because one Christmas, someone got me a Thundercracker. I already had a Thundercracker, so I just left it in box. But I think this toy is pretty cool, you know? I like the articulation of the toy. The paint scheme on the head could have been better, but I think overall it's not bad. I like the jet mode. The transformation, as I said... Actually, I didn't mention the transformation, but as I said, the Starscream mold is good, and with that, the transformation, so, like I said, technically, I mean, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Anyways, I like Thundercracker, it's basically what I'm trying to say. I really do. And I like the mold, so there's that. I just wish that they swapped out the weapon for the actual one that came with Starscream, but with that out of the way, I really do like this setup. I like the head sculpt and pretty much the sculpt in general. I think this is a very good looking Starscream and Seeker mold. So with that out of the way, again, this is pretty much the garbage wave of Dark of the Moon. But for a lot of the later waves, they're kind of just whatever, I guess. I mean, the one with Darksteel and Ratchet are just kind of whatever. I don't really see a lot of people caring about those waves in general. There's probably like one or two figures, but you also have an Air Raid, a Bumblebee, a Dark Steel, whatnot. So, with that out of the way, I don't hate this wave, but there's a couple of figures that I just don't like. Again, with the Mudflap and the Laserbeak. And again, I understand where people are coming from with the Nitro Bumblebee. I like the Nitro Bumblebee. I like the Thundercracker. Now, out of this whole toy lot, there's nothing that I absolutely despise. Like, even with the Mudflap with its problems, I still don't like that toy. Even with that, there's something charming that really keeps me from really hating it. I don't know, maybe it's just the belly or the legs or the face or something like that. There's something charming that I really like about it. Laserbeak could have been better. I really just don't care about Laserbeak, but I already have it, so it's just whatever. Again, Nitro Bumblebee I actually like. Thundercracker I think is pretty cool. So with that out of the way, that's my opinion about the whole wave. What do you guys think? Please comment below. Let me know. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and all those fun doodads. And I'll see you guys next time.